Welcome to the Heart for God podcast. With many years of experience pastoring and helping to start churches, Dr. Jim Townsley has some practical and biblical advice that can be a great help to you and your ministry. On this podcast, Dr. Townsley and other guests with special expertise cover a variety of topics. His goal is to help you lead your church to be a healthy, strong, and balanced ministry, and for your family to be happy, healthy, and living for the Lord.
Thanks for joining me today. I think by the time this airs, it'll be after Christmas, but I'm recording it a couple days before Christmas. Thanks for joining me today, and I have some important things to cover that kind of goes together with what I've been doing since I stepped down as a senior pastor. So my last Sunday was Memorial Weekend. I turned 72 2 days before the 50th anniversary that we started the church. So the church is now 50 years old. It's hard to believe that all that time has gone by. But the Lord's been good. We've been so grateful, and we feel blessed in so many ways that, you know, we're just very, very fortunate with our family, with the ministry. But that's been our life. That's what we've done. And pastors listening to this, that is your life, the church, the ministry, your family. That's what everything you do revolves around that. So after I stepped down, just to give you a little history and update of what we've been doing, and people say, oh, you retired. Well, not really retired, just refocused on what we're doing. But I stepped down as a senior pastor. I continued this fall to teach in the college, and I've traveled with the ensemble, and there are a number of activities with the church. I'm still very involved. But I've only been home, I think, 2 Sunday mornings. I've been here more Wednesdays, but 2 Sunday mornings since I stepped down. So right after we stepped down, we went to Japan. Our daughter is a missionary there in northern Japan. But we were there 4.5 weeks, and I preached while I was there. We helped work on a building. And able to see the grandkids. From there, I went to Indiana, and I preached in 3 different churches while I was there. Came back to Connecticut, then went to Maryland. From Maryland, also Virginia, North Carolina, to the Sword Conference, and spoke there. In North Carolina, from the Sword Conference all the way out to the coast, Elizabeth City. Spent an afternoon there with a young preacher, and then to Portsmouth, Virginia. Brother had a great church review there in Virginia. From there to Leesburg, and my daughter and her husband, they have a church in Leesburg, Virginia. And so I preached there, and we babysat some and did some other work. From there to West Virginia, then preaching in Maryland, then we finally got back home, and I took off for Indiana, to northern Indiana, LaGrange, Indiana. There for a church review. It went very well. Came back and preached and gave an update at Central here in Southington. Then a church review in Ansonia, then to New York State for a fellowship meeting, then to West Virginia, a church review, then we have, we call it the Quad State Sunday School and Church Workers meeting, and spoke there. And then with the ensemble, they sang, and we stayed over for that weekend, and we were in 3 churches on Sunday. Somebody had an afternoon service in Bayonne, so we were actually in 3 churches in New Jersey. Then spoke in high school chapel. Then we went to Watertown, Connecticut for church reviews, in Rhode Island, a fellowship meeting. Then Terryville at a Bible conference, Terryville, Connecticut, where my other son is a pastor. Then I filled in the last night of our revival meeting. Brother Paulie was here Sunday through Tuesday, and we wanted to continue to Wednesday, so I preached the last night of the revival meeting. Then to Massachusetts and Worcester, Massachusetts. And from there in the evening, we're in Waterford, Connecticut. They were up in Maine and a couple of churches and Pastor's Refresher Conference in Sanford. And down in Maryland, which really is West Virginia, Brother Leatherman has a church in Oakland, Maryland. But if you're familiar with the layout of the state of Maryland, there's that long tip handle that goes out, and it's not even far from Ohio, actually. But we had a great missions conference there. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And I say all that to let you know that I'm seeing a lot of different churches. And it's a great blessing. I'm seeing good things happen. I believe that our churches, our fundamental churches, are contracting. I think they're fewer, they're smaller. But on the other hand, I see some great young men. They have put their hand to the plow. They're doing a great job. But the one thing that it seems it comes up every single place I go, and that is financial stability for the pastor in the church, stewardship, pastor's retirement. The finances has become a big, big issue. It's expensive to live today, and if people don't get a handle on their finances, then it's not going to be a good picture as they get older. In fact, I can tell you some pastors that they're basically homeless. They gave their life to the ministry. They never looked for remuneration. Some of them were working a job as well as pastoring. Some opted out of Social Security. And they get to the point where they're unable in their 70s or 80s, and they can't really pastor the church properly, but they don't have any other source of income. And unfortunately, they just stay because they don't know what else to do. And the church is going down. And, it's not a good thing. And so it sounds good when you're young, you think, I'll just trust God, God will provide. But the truth is, you can do both. You can not be greedy of filthy lucre. You're not trying to be wealthy. You're not living for money. But to be a good steward, you know how to handle your money. And it's not that hard to do. It's very, very simple if you start early and over a long period of time. I was writing with our ensemble, and as we're traveling, we have a lot of fun together. They laugh and carry on. It kind of makes you feel young again to be around them. But they had these drinks, chocolate colada, I don't know what they are, but I said, how much that cost? They said, $5. And I said, let's say you had one 5 days a week and you do that for a whole year, that's like $1,300 if my math is right. And I said, if you took that money, invested every year and continued to spend that, you would have over $800,000 if you invested wisely over 40 years. And it just proves a point that that's a simple thing. And not that you have to give up, drinking something or favorite food or eating out all the time, but it just shows that over time, it can be a simple thing. When we first started, we made $77 a week. The church paid for my gas. They paid for our rent, but we were giving half of it back to the church. So we're living on $35 a week. And I said to my wife, I think we should get on a budget. Now, she wasn't real excited about that, but we followed a budget. I mean, a stick of gum, anything extra. Chocolate chips were expensive. We didn't buy that. We didn't drink coffee. We were really, really careful. And it took a long time, but in 10 years, we ended up saving enough money that I bought a house and remodeled it. It was a 2-family, made it a 3-family, couple of years, it was one of those times where real estate increased rapidly in value, sold it, and it gave us enough for a down payment on our home that you live in, which has long since been paid for. But it was not very much. $5 a week doesn't seem like a lot, but we started doing that when I was in my early 20s. So I think stewardship is a really important thing, and the pastor needs to get a handle on it for himself, but he needs to be able to train his people and help his people. Through the years, we help people buy homes that they never even would have thought about it. And they said, you need to buy a home. And we walked them through it, helped them find something. People need to start putting away for retirement. We talked about it. We have workshops, and that's one of the things that I've been doing is having stewardship conferences, meet on a Saturday, have sessions about finances, and meet individually with people that maybe we can help them with some of their finances, then preach on Sunday and talk about stewardship. This is really an important thing. Not that we should be focusing just on money, but we need to be good stewards of what God's given us, and it's so difficult today that if you don't do it, it's going to hinder your ministry. It's going to hinder people's spiritual walk. So just quickly, I'll add some things some of the notes that I have. There are certain basic steps that just about anybody can tell you that you need to do in handling your finances. Number one, obviously get out of debt. If anybody's in debt, you need to get out of debt. You don't think about anything else. Don't think about buying a house. Don't think about saving for the future. You've got to get out of debt. That's your number one emphasis, and become financially free. Number two, you need to start an emergency fund. It should be no surprise that emergencies come up. You need to expect the unexpected. The washer will quit working. The car needs repaired. There's a medical bill. Those things happen, perhaps even the loss of a job. So you need 3 to 6 months minimum of salary that is saved up that you can access very quickly. So you need an emergency fund. Those are the first two steps. And then thirdly, you need to establish a budget which goes along with getting out of debt and establishing an emergency fund. And by the way, the budget should include saving. A budget is not just, we're breaking even and we're not in debt, but part of the budget is you should be planning for retirement, children's education, perhaps even your grandchildren. So establish a budget that works, that gives the old envelope method where you put money in every envelope and you say, this is the category, put money in there, there's my tithe right off the top, and here's my gas allowance and medical expenses and groceries. And so you put it in that envelope and you live out of each envelope. You can do that. There's several programs that you can put on your phone or in your computer. But you need to establish a budget where you learn to get by without. You say, we don't have the money, we can't do it. We don't have the money, we can't buy it. It's not in our budget. And then you need to start saving. And that should be part of your budget, putting money away for different things. To buy a car, to buy a home, for education, and obviously for retirement. And your friend is length of time. It doesn't seem like a lot in the beginning, but it adds up over time. And if you put it off, and you say, I'm 55, 60 years old, I better start thinking about retirement. Well, you should think about it, and there are things you can do, but it's so much more effective when you start early, even the smallest amount. So you need to begin saving. And then number 5, you need to learn how to invest. Buying a home is an investment. Buying real estate's not everybody's thing, that you're not really prepared for that, or it's not something you're that familiar with. And by the way, you can lose money on real estate too. But for some people, they can buy real estate. And I know preachers have bought rental homes. There are things you can do. If you're a handyman, then you can save money from doing some of the work yourself, but that does take time. But the simplest way is you put money in fixed income, such as money markets, certificates of deposit. Generally, right now, those are a little less than 4%. You can probably get 4%, maybe in a treasury bill. There are things you can do that are very, very safe as anything, and you get some return. Or there are things you can do that are more aggressive, and there's always some risk involved. But going back to the 50s, the S&P 500 has returned on average 10% a year. There's also income for older people. There's income-producing stocks. There's pipelines that you can get 6 to 10% interest. Plus, there's a possibility the stock that you buy may go up in value as well. But some people think, well, I don't want to get in the stock market because it's gambling. The only reason it'd be gambling is you start taking risk instead of investing in companies. And if you're investing, let's say, in the S&P 500, the Standard & Poor's 500 are the largest companies in America. Now, if you're investing in the largest companies in America, that's not gambling. You're investing in a company. You're part of progress. You're part of the technology of the day. So there are very, very simple ways, and today it's so easy. You can do it yourself. You can do it on a computer. So you can go to Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, Robinhood. You can open up your own account. You can just put it in these exchange-traded funds. They're called ETFs. And the S&P 500 is SPY. There's other index funds that you don't have to know anything. You buy the whole market. You're buying a little piece of 500 stocks. You can buy the NASDAQ 100, QQQ. There are ways to invest, but there are also ways to give. Let's say you've done that for 20, 30, 40 years or more. Now you've reached a point where if you started, even if you were a Christian school teacher, even if you were making minimum wage, you will, if you follow a basic practice of putting 10% of your income away and investing it, you're going to be a multimillionaire. And by the way, a millionaire today is not what a millionaire was 50 years ago when I started the ministry. If you had $1 million and it was all in safe fixed income, then you're getting 4%. That's $40,000 a year. And if that was your only income, it might be hard to live on $40,000 a year, particularly you go forward 10, 20 years. It may seem like a lot to some people, but when you're looking at investing in the end of your life, you got to have income. You could have a few $1 million, even people of very low income. And when people in your church start getting hold of it, and everybody won't, but you need to be working with people and helping them to think about this and be conscious of it and have workshops, seminars, talk about it periodically, have a PowerPoint, things like that. There are things that people can do, and we're at that point. Our church is 50 years old. We have people doing all of these various different things, such as donor-advised funds. People have reached a point, they say, you know what, I'm going to put this money in this fund, a donor-advised fund, and I'm going to set it up where this is now protected, and I can donate to 501c3, to church or other things, and there are certain tax benefits that I'll get. I have stock I bought years ago, and now if I sell it, I'm going to pay a large tax bill because of the capital gain. And I can donate that or put it in a donor-advised fund, and I don't have to pay capital gains on it, and I get the full deduction from off my taxes from donating that money. And you could just donate stocks directly. It's one of the things that I like to do. If you have, again, capital gain on some things you've held for quite a while, and now it's worth a whole lot more. It's gone up, 10 times, and now if I sell it, it's going to be a high tax on the capital gain. So I can donate that. I get full deduction for the full amount, and the church does not pay capital gains on it. So it really, works in two different ways. You can also donate real estate. You can donate a house. Sometimes you inherit certain things that, you can pay even a tithe off of it. There was money came from your grandparents or your parents deceased, and there's money. People need to be aware of their things they can do. And structuring a will, everybody should have a will. And you need to, and by the way, you can set up a will probably off the internet. Probably it's wise to seek counsel and get an attorney involved in it. It's not that expensive of a thing in most cases. But you can, the church can be a beneficiary to some part of a person's will, all of it. But I like the idea you could continue to give after you're deceased, and that money will go to a good use to see people saved or to missions. And there's charitable trusts that you can set up. It's another way that people can learn how to give. And a charitable trust has, again, certain tax considerations and deductions that can be beneficial. And so there are several ways that people ought to be familiar with, and you may be surprised of who has money and savings, and because no one goes around saying, here's my net worth. And sometimes it'll surprise you who has money and who doesn't. So getting your people to the point where they get out of debt, they have an emergency fund, they follow a budget, they begin saving, they begin investing, and all of that takes time. It takes time to see progress, but the more you help people and guide them in these areas, the greater benefit will be to them personally, that they can become financially free, that they're able to give to missions, and people have a need, they can help with that need. A kid needs to go to camp, he needs help. A bus kid, missionary, helping the church building fund. There's so many ways that people will be financially free. And by the way, they can pass it on to their children. They can provide an education for their children or their grandchildren. Every time we have a child born, we open up an account for them, a brokerage account. We put seed money in there, and they save money and add to it. We add to it periodically. That's a blessing. It's a great thing. So you don't have to be a greedy person. You're not trying to be wealthy, but it is important to realize you cannot avoid, particularly in the day in which we live, you cannot avoid the importance of stewardship of our finances and our money, because you can get buried really, really fast. Well, I know this is a lot to take in all at once, but if I can help you, I'd certainly be happy to do so. And it's one of the things that seems that it's become very important. A lot of people, really every place I go, it seems like this is one of the things that comes up. And so you need to start as soon as you can, hopefully while you're young. And if you'll do that, it's not going to consume time and effort. It's just a very simple thing. You put the money away, and if you are wise with it, invest in good companies or these ETFs, and you go down the road 30, 40, 50 years, you're going to be grateful. You're not going to have worries about money, and you'll be able to be a blessing and use that money for your family, for your wife, for your children, grandchildren, and to be able to be a blessing for the ministry. Well, God bless you. If I can help you in any way, let me know. But trust you have a good day, and hope you had a good Christmas, and certainly looking forward to a new year.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, consider sharing it with a friend. You can also follow at Dr. Townsley on Twitter or on Facebook at Jim Townsley.